pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First thing to do would be to approve the minutes from last week.
I'll make the motion.
Simmons moved,
I'll second.
Jesse seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Consent agenda. Upon the request of Coffee County Housing Authority Board, move to authorize and direct the chairman to sign real estate mortgage release, acknowledging satisfaction in full debt secured by Donald and Karen Franklin. Common address 204 South 5th Street, Burlington, Kansas. That'd be me, so I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Upon the request of Coffee County Housing Authority Board, move to authorize and direct the chairman to sign the real estate mortgage release, acknowledging satisfaction in full debt secured by Michael A. Cathcart, Aaron Cathcart, and Tanya Cathcart, common address 525 North Spruce Street, Lebo, Kansas.
I'll move.
Jesse's moved.
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Upon the request of the Coffee County Housing Authority Board, move to authorize and direct the chairman to sign real estate mortgage release, acknowledging satisfaction in full debt secured by Christy Strotter, common address 909 Neosho, Burlington, Kansas.
Also move.
Don's moved. All second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Miscellaneous motions, I'm gonna do the handed out one first. Move to authorize and direct the chairman to sign the Coffee County payroll notice for Amelia Yump, Attorney's Office interim, new hire, pay grade 5-1, wage $12.73, effective 5/24/21.
I'll move.
Jesse moved,
I'll second.
Tim seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm just late, sorry.
That's fine. I just make sure you didn't have something you wanted to say. Okay, the next one is a fence viewing deal, and she's got some explanation.
I spoke to Ryan Yoho a couple of times. It's the fence on all four sides surrounding his property that he would like to have taken a look at, and the inset part along the Shetland Road side. He's concerned about why there's a set-in part there. And when someone's out there, he's hoping that they can take a look at the way the water drains from Mr. Murray's property that shorts out Mr. Yoho's electric fence. And so he put the legal address of his own property, Mr. Yoho's property, because he said the fence line goes all the way around on his property. So it's the location and the condition of the water drainage that he's concerned about.
Is it concerned more on the water drainage than it is the fence itself?
The location all the way around, he said, is into his property. So he's wanting the fence, I think, moved out a little bit so that it's more on the line.
To be on the western part of the property there, southwest part, got a little setback according to that map, but it sounds like you want it straightened out.
And he said this has been an ongoing issue for years between Mr. Murray and himself with the fence issue.
Sure, I think we have two issues. We, as fence viewers, do not deal in the drainage and stuff. So if they want a fence viewing, we can view the fence, and our job is to just determine if the fence is a correct fence. The other issue needs to be handled some other way. And they may both be a problem, and they may tie together, but
But
So we might call him back and tell him we can we'll go out and look for fence. So we need to appoint 2 individuals to be representatives of the commission as fence viewers. Which,
I think this is in my area. If we can do it after 4 o'clock would help me out, but I can do it after noon any day.
It's on the east side of Shetland. I think that's probably mine.
Is it?
Which one we can do?
Might be a good thing for both of you.
I'm sorry?
Sounds like a good thing for both of you.
I'm well aware of, I don't know exactly how everything sets, but I'm well aware of the property. 'Cause
Alright.
I had a classmate that lived on that property for 25 years, so.
Alright.
so it sounds like we have 2 volunteers, so to speak. So we move to appoint Tim Johnson, Don Meeks, to be the commission representatives as fence viewers upon the request of Ryan Yellow, date and time to be determined.
That would be in your district, Tim. It is in your district, Maryland.
Alright.
We kind of share it. How's that?
So they'll
That's
work.
okay.
We'll share it.
That's good.
So,
Do we need a motion?
Yeah.
Move.
Second.
Jesse, Don, Bob has seconded. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. So we'll just have to set time and just make him aware that we're just looking at the fence. The water issue would be, I don't know, what do you take after water issue?
Ryan does drive a 18-wheeler
It would be,
and he's on the road a lot, so, may want to establish 2 or 3 dates.
Okay.
You could
Something to
even,
work with. I could pretty well have a long time, but I know Ryan's, he's going, I don't know whether it's cross country or not, but he's going a lot.
Alright.
the water issue would be a Wayne issue if it goes in our road. If it's not in our road, then it's not our issue.
it's between the 2 properties. I'm kind of aware of it, so.
I'll get somebody like Robert Hargreaves or someone to take a look at it.
It's such advising that way.
And you said, Don said anytime, and you,
Anytime after 4 would work good for me, but I can be shoved.
Persuaded.
Okay, so Connie.
Hello,
Luke.
it's time for me to be reappointed by July 1st for a 4-year term.
Okay. So we have a motion to move to adopt resolution 586-G, a resolution reappointing Connie Lawrence, Coffee County appraiser to a 4-year term.
I'll make that motion. I think things have gone pretty good since we've had Connie as far as appraisers. I know we may have had some, whatever you call it, but I think it's okay. I'll make that motion.
Bob moved,
Second.
Jesse seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Christ, I
Thank
appreciate it.
you. Rhonda, that was pretty quick.
Thank you.
This property, down here on Willow Bend, it's area 15, 19, and 20. I gave you kind of the 3 properties.
And then I'll have some different pictures of what's inside, just for you to kind of know what I'm talking about and stuff. These went through the flood here a couple of years ago, and nothing's been done about them. I did have a lawyer contact me and ask me if there was anything that we could do to maybe kind of help this individual out, which is Karina Cooper. And so we had to get everything kind of lined out and stuff, and I tried to kind of check and make sure everything was good and everything. Her children kind of helped her out. And so it definitely, by speaking to the lawyer and another lawyer, that it seems like it's kind of a hardship. So I have spoke to Karina and everything, and it's been 2 years, nothing's been done. The south, what I call the south house, on that side, which would be kind of what I kind of call the pink gray one, and it'd be 15. That one we couldn't even go into. The floors were too bad and everything because the water had got up to the top. And then the next one, which would be 19, that's the one she was living in. It has kind of a split level, or a little bit of a split level in it, so water was in 2 feet and then 4 feet. And I went into that one, and not very far. It was pretty bad and stuff, and that's the picture you're seeing. So, and then the modular that's set off that in the back, so, which is
You're talking 2 structures, 3 structures?
3 structures. There's 2 houses, and then there's the one modular, kind of back there, number 20. So we can head far north on the west side. So,
Have the taxes been paid on this project?
yes, I've been working on this over a year, and so finally her kids kind of came up with the money and paid the taxes on it and stuff. So we're up to date where we have to be.
Do they intend on trying to build back here or just
No.
clear the lot and let it go? Because it's pretty well, it's not a good location
Right.
because of water.
She had first said, I'd really like to keep the, what I call the north house, because that's the one she lived in. And I'm like, Karina, you haven't done anything for 2 years, you know, and it's just so bad and everything. I said, are you sure? Because when I go, I want to talk to them about this being a hardship case and everything. And so she said, well, and I'm thinking, it's just so bad. I wouldn't want to go in there, and I don't know who she's going to get to, go in there and clean it up and stuff. So, so I kind of visited with her. I said, let's get it all cleaned out. And she does live in a little camper. You guys have probably seen that. That's on the west side down there. The city's done so much work down there on the little city dam, kind of cleaned it all up and made it really nice. The structures are not totally secure on the back. I'm surprised, you know, we haven't kind of went in there, but yeah, I don't know. But, so I guess I'm here for 2 things, to ask about waiving landfill fees and would we be able to do a hardship case? I did kind of get an estimate from one of our demolition contractors. It would probably run about $4,000 per project, so about $12,000 total. It's not a definite, but that's kind of what that's what it was.
I have a question. Since this is in the area that it's in, have you discussed with them of giving it to the housing authority and cleaning it out? And then it looked to me like it would be a perfect place to help increase the city dam and make a community park for
Right.
people.
I have not asked her specifically. I could go back with her on that. I do have an individual that would be interested if she would be willing to part with it.
Well, if we clean it off, it would be bare land.
It would be good for an RV spot. is
Right,
what
but it
needs to
would
be.
not be rebuildable land, and it might be,
Right.
if it's a hardship case, and I'm not trying to tell people what they need to do, but if it's a hardship case, they might want to part with the land and not have to pay taxes on basically vacant lot. I would like for you to check that out maybe, but at the same time, I have no problem waiving landfill fees at this moment for forever, whoever be.
I've looked at it a couple of times and I wouldn't have no problem waiving a landfill fees either. I'm having a hard time
It's
speaking.
hard to say, like,
I'm having a hard time speaking at all today. I'm yawning early, so it must be a sign. But I do agree that, I mean, there is some value in that property and and she can split it off. I mean, as far as tearing down the structures, I mean, it is a health hazard from the looks of things and safety hazard as well. You get another flood and the next thing you know, they're washing on down the river. So I mean, is it something where my thinking was waive the landfill fees, but assess the demolition to her taxes?
That could be done, because there's no way she's gonna be able to get it done from just the conversations I've had with the lawyers and her. That's kind of looking after her a little bit. And I don't mind, I just don't really like to say, well, we'll do it if, you know, you donate land. I'm not sure the housing authority would want the land, I don't know. I mean, we could take it and everything, but I don't know if, I haven't asked Marjorie to take one.
This land is actually in the county, correct?
Correct.
I mean, as far as landfill, you could take it and give it to the county, and we could make an extension of the city dam for a park area. Beyond that is my thinking. And if this is kind of a hardship case, it may be a benefit that we would be willing to clean it up and take the land for it too. I mean, if we haven't approached that, I would think it'd be a good way to approach it first and see. You know, if they say no, they can say no.
Or
Clean it
that,
up for the purchase of the ground.
Right. And then it's no longer Texas.
I talked to Rhonda a little bit about, because this belongs to one of the Lang daughters, and I've known the Lang family all my life. They own the post office in Leroy. They own 5-acre farm, 5-acre house out on the country. As near as Rhonda can discover, the income off the post office
She says she's not getting it.
is very minimum, and she apparently isn't getting anything from it, although that's yet to be discovered. The brick home hadn't been anybody live in it for long, several years, because unfortunately, both Jean and Isabel has passed a number of years ago, and unfortunately, one of the daughters has passed, so there's only one living
I do have a
surviving
picture of it too, if
family.
you want to see it.
It definitely appears to be a hardship case, but yet we don't know probably don't know all the details completely either.
Well, I don't want to get into their other private business. I want to deal with these three here.
Right, I asked her.
What else they have is really none of our concern,
Right.
is my opinion.
It is, but when you classify the hardship case, there's 2 other properties that are valued.
yeah.
So there's, I mean,
Is it
you
or
gotta put it all on the table as far as I'm concerned.
is it or isn't? Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta put it on the table. And I understand exactly where Ron is coming from. And I know quite a bit about the other situations too, here, Bob. That's
The one we're talking about up there.
a property.
It is not in good shape. I am gonna definitely encourage her, all of her properties, even the ones down that little bit, and she needs to talk with the appraiser's office, because they're way, not where they should be.
It's on the tax roll at 120 and probably isn't worth
No,
20% of that.
it's got black
So we
mold,
do need,
water
there is
in it.
gonna need to be some adjustments there down the road.
I would encourage her to do that.
Again, I wouldn't have no problem waiving the landfill
Yeah, I
fees,
don't.
but if there
Yeah.
be another avenue, whether it be donation back to the county or, I mean, what is food for thought.
Okay.
Yeah, I would ask if you check that out before we go any further, but the landfill fees, I have no problem with it whatsoever.
What's the acreage there?
That would be.
Of these 3?
This is, it looks like, well, it's kind of, let's see.
I wouldn't think it's a deal with 2 or 3 acres.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's probably, they don't really have it. I'll show it to you, like, here down there.
Which one out?
That one, yes, it's off of Reaper and. It hasn't been underwater, but it has water in it. Like, they just left it.
3 to 5 acre
I-
property.
That's definitely not.
I would estimate it in that 3-4 acre range, so.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, then they own the rest of
They
the
own the
area. That would make a good addition to the city dam. If someone had, anyone, whether it's individual.
so they own that whole property, not just the little piece. You know, see,
Well, I can definitely ask her, and see, and if she is willing to come back. Otherwise, we'll just go with waiving the landfill things.
The only other option I threw out there was assessing the demolition to the taxes. I'm assuming that would be a your decision on that.
I mean, it's definitely an important thing, because if we're gonna invest $12,000 plus landfill fees to demolition and everything, you know, I'd say that's a pretty decent number for that little area right there. I mean, and plus she wouldn't have any taxes on it.
Right.
If she would donate it to the housing.
Clear on back up to the west, though, there is a fairly new metal structure, if you will. I don't know if it's a post frame or what, but it's a fairly new structure sitting way back up in the west, so, on that property.
I don't think a person's strong on there a bit by saying, you know, if it's gonna cost $12,000, we'd like to have you donate the property to it, so we're gonna assess it to your taxes.
Or you would assess it, is that what you're saying? Because she's probably a good friend. I don't think since she's living down there, she's probably gonna let it go, because she's lost so much. And I think she's just trying to hold on to something, you know, that,
Understandable.
yeah, of course. So we need a vote on that. Do you want me just to come
Well,
back? or
let's see what the
what?
final, do you agree? Let's see what the final decision is, whether we're assessing it or donation or what, and I mean, tell her we're gonna waive the landfill fees for sure.
All right, thank you so much.
Thanks, Tom.
Are you guys making this?
Well, then again, do we need, I was thinking,
Just want me to come back.
I mean,
So table it.
Table it.
yeah, let's
Yeah, basically.
table it so we know exactly where we're headed with the rest of it, I guess. I mean, there's no sense in waiving landfill fees if we're not gonna be able to assess it or get it back in donation, so.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
Yeah, I
thank
think it needs to be a little more discovery done.
you. Frosty, you're up.
Morning, Forrest.
I've always called him Frosty, hope you don't mind.
I'm wondering if I could sit down.
Yeah, sure.
I get kind of shaky, my legs. Thank you. Well, why I'm here, I wonder, I got two questions, why and when? And what's happening out there in the Matthias's Lake for drainage? I'll tell you the problems we have. I've started off here, I've lived out here 89 years, and I think I'm probably the oldest property owner in that neighborhood. By the way, what I need to do is, I don't believe I've ever met Tim or Jesse.
I'm Jesse, nice to
I'm
meet you.
Tim Johnson. Nice to meet you.
And,
Could you scoot up just a little bit more, then you can see these guys?
huh?
Would you scoot up just a little bit more, Frosty? Come on here, help you across.
Carl will help you there.
Carl, help you. And then Carl, turn the mic over.
I've met,
If the podium's on wheels, why don't
I want you to be able to see everyone.
slide it back?
You're good.
Pull the thing back, Carl. So we can see everyone. That's
Just
what
come on.
we don't want. Yeah, that way you're not talking into the wind there.
There we go.
We'll
Yeah,
see.
thank you, Carl.
thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, he needs his briefcase, Carl.
You still
Way to go, Carl.
Okay, what I'm getting at, so many things have happened out here, and I'm wondering if, property owners are all treated the same by the county.
To my knowledge, they should be and they are. I mean, as far as the drainage from Matthias Lake, I do know there's some discussion
Well,
yet to be had with the,
I'm gonna start off with, from my driveway north for 3,000 feet, that was cleaned out by Reed. And he got to a point in November where he had to shut down because it got too cold to excavate the ditch. But he had that so it would drain for 3,000 feet down to my driveway. And from there on, he said, I'll be back next spring and we'll clean that ditch on down. And of course, he was relieved of his duties over the holidays. And so that didn't happen. So now nothing's been done about cleaning that ditch south of my driveway on down to where all of these pipes go across Native Road. And the county has gone in there and bought right away from Bill Williams to set poles back. Why did we set those poles back when you aren't doing anything with the west ditch to pick the drainage up on down?
I think right now, well, I know right now, they're waiting for that utility line to be moved back.
Well, this
Yeah.
brings up what, that diagonal ditch that went across there. We all know that Mathias's Lake was drained out the southeast corner because you were manager of the co-op and you knew when Nelson Motors closed that up where the drainage had to go out the southwest corner, and that's illegal. All you have to do is look at the Kansas state statutes, 1948, on drainage and let's see, drainage and, well, it doesn't make any difference, but I had Tom look that up and it still carries. Okay, down there, Wayne told me that that diagonal ditch across there wasn't built by the county or because he couldn't get out on private properties. Wayne was wrong. Jim Kraft, that was the first job he did when he come on and cleaned that ditch out on over to 10th Road. And that's the way the drainage was supposed to go. And that drainage out of the southeast corner of the lake is illegal because they aren't doing it. It's going out the southwest corner and something needs to be done. And now I'm going to jump back over on the drainage ditch. That drainage ditch from the 12th Road on down to the 10th Road, that's what was put in 1945. And that was by Richard Gluey was the inspector on that when it was put in. And if you go out there and stand on Native Road and look down south, that's nothing but plugged up due to Nelson Motors. Now, Nelson Motors have drained 120 acres to the south, toward the northeast of the drainage ditch. And that was done. Every property owner has a right to drain his own water as long as they don't move it over into another water district, defined water area. And Nelson Motors changed that from the water flowing from north to south to east to west. And that's 1,091 acres that he's changed the flow of. It's coming over to the drainage ditch. Okay, that backs water up on B, And you've seen it, Don. And that water goes southwest across when you get an inch of rain, it will go southwest over to the corner of Native Road and 11th Road. And what happens then, there's 5 pipes draining water down that east ditch instead of going down the west ditch. And why hasn't something been done? I'm sitting there, the water has, just this last rain, we had all planted and it had fertilizer, the seed, and sprayed, and go look at it. Water come out due to the fact that the water can't go down to the ditch out there. And Wayne and had told Jeff and Ryan that there's nothing could be done with that ditch until the Matthias Lake was taken care of. Why? Why aren't everybody treated the same? I'll tell you how Nelsons are treated. The county hauled numerous loads of material taken out of a ditch over on Planter Road, 2.5 mile haul, and dumped it up there in the low spot for it to fill up. And then they hauled some to the southwest. Well, along Planter Road, they marked off the right of way, the county did, with steel fence posts, and they had assumed that they were going to seed that over to the back slope. Nelson Motors goes, pulls the steel fence post and farms that right back over to the top of the back slope again. And what happens? They throw that in, fill the ditch up again. What's going on out here? We aren't all treated the same.
I think the best we possibly can, we try to treat everybody the same. And I'm sure you probably realize that too. The ditch is going south of your driveway. If there's not any weather issues, that will be totally opened up this year. Because that's in.
When are you going to?
Right now, they gotta wait till the utilities, the electric poles have been moved back, but there's still a utility line in there. I think the telephone line, I went by it this morning to see how far they had dug the ditch out there east of Bill and Rosemary's place. And they've made some progress up, and where the crossover goes there into the east ditch right there by Williams's, they still got a couple 100 feet of that to open up. And then they'll move to the west side, and that'll be opened all the way up to your driveway. And I've talked to Jeff, and either Jeff or Ryan, or maybe both, and Wayne. But they can't open up the west side of that road until the utility line. And Wayne made a comment here, if I understand right, and remember correctly, made a comment here a month or 6 weeks ago, electric poles are moved back. But we can't clean that ditch out, because that the telephone line or utility still has their line in the right of way.
Well, I know where all the fiber optic comes down the north side of my driveway. And that's what you're talking about. It goes under the road and over on that side over there, on the east side. That's that fiber optic.
But the line I'm talking about is on the west side. That's what's keeping us from digging that ditch out right now. My understanding is that was supposed to be moved in the very near future. I don't think Wayne gave us a date on that. But when that takes place, from your driveway south, and I don't think I'm speaking out of turn from Wayne, it's phase 2, what he called phase 1, 2, and 3, because all the ditch has been opened up all the way to the river. And as of right now, from your driveway down to Rosemary's place, there's probably 3/4 of a mile of ditch that needs to be opened up.
I know it.
And that should be totally done by fall.
That west.
But that utility line's gotta be moved first, because we can't dig it up.
That west ditch, there's places there that needs to have 1.5 foot of material taken out to get to the flow line of the east ditch on the east side. I got the profiles on all of this right here. And I know how many crossroad pipes goes
Those
across.
are all being removed. Those will be removed.
When though?
That is part of the project as they work north. One thing that.
How many times do I have to replant that crop, Tom? Or Don, you've seen that.
I'm well
It's
aware.
pretty expensive to buy fertilizer, seed, and spray it
I fully respect,
over and over and over again.
I fully respect everything you brought up, and I fully respect all your comments. You know, our friendship goes back 50 years, well, almost 50. That's how long is that co-op? And I fully respect everything you're bringing up, always do. And I know you're being impatient, and I don't have a problem with that, because this has been on the program for 25 years plus.
Okay,
The southeast, moved to the southeast part of the lake a little bit. You know, we used to have to go all the way around the section to get to the north 20 acres.
well,
And then as it was dry ground, you know, we know the Nelson's farm
where
across.
are you gonna drain the Matthias Lake out to? Where are you gonna drain it?
How the
to?
southeast corner, that is, I think Wayne would tell you that's work in process. I talked to the Kansas Water Resources Board a year ago, or a year and a half ago, when I made a day trip to the Kansas Water Resources Board.
Yeah, but there's
And talk to those people.
the statutes on drainage and,
The statute is
Yeah.
clear, statute is clear, but my understanding is that would be next year's project to get that lake drained out the southeast corner.
I tell you how Wayne's been playing out there. Where there was 4 pipes set up on the drainage ditch on the south, or on the northeast corner there. And Hub Casper had set up to have one long concrete span bridge to take care of that drainage of 1,091 acres. And what happened? Wayne says, no, we aren't gonna do that. We wanna put these pipes in to slow the water down so it has more time for the getaway down below. Look at that drainage ditch going from 10th Road down to 11, or from 11th Road down to 10th Road. It's nothing, it's all plugged up. Who by? Nelson Motors. Why isn't something done?
I think there's no question, one thing that slowed the project down last year was that we devoted a huge amount of equipment to build a brand new cell at the landfill. And I'm not trying to make an excuse, no way. But I know that took a lot more time and with a lot of the county equipment to build that cell. But I think I can assure you that from your driveway south, during this summertime, that ditch will be opened up, but we also got to have that utility line moved. And the time frame on that, I cannot answer. I assume that's in the very near future for frost damming.
Well, doesn't the utility line go east there and then crosses a road and goes around by Dave Freeman's house on the south side, going around that hill over there, because they didn't want to go up through where the rock was?
I can't answer that.
And I do.
There's a utility pedestal on the west side of the road. There's a utility pedestal.
Yeah.
So there's evidently still a utility line on that west
Actually,
side.
a couple of them. There's 2.
And I do know that that's in the working process, and I know that's probably not quick enough. And I'm not trying to cover anything, but that's working process, as lines have to be moved, and that ditch will be cleaned out. You know, they're almost up to that crossover, concrete new culvert right there at Bill Wins's place. You know, right now, we're only a couple 100 feet south of it to get that cleaned out, and then we'll work on the west side.
I got pictures showing what all of that water and what it's been doing to my driveway there.
Fully,
It's all documented.
yeah, and I've seen it.
I showed it to you.
I've seen
You
it.
stood there and seen this,
I-
and I don't know how many, commissioners have stood there in my driveway and saw where the water goes down and it's plugged right down there. Clean that ditch out so the water can get, and there's no utilities there.
From your driveway south to your south property line, there's no utilities in that ditch.
I don't think so.
Why are they on the further south of your property line? There's a half-mile utility lines there.
I don't know what that utility, that's Four Rivers now, you know.
Well, the Four Rivers electric line's been
Yeah.
moved back. And then, that's gonna be a pretty good sized ditch when they go down the west side of that road to get your property drained, get the property north of your line, drain down that ditch. It's gonna be a pretty good sized ditch. But it will take care of your issue other than coming out of the southeast corner of your, which is cornfield now. There maybe have to be some personal ditching done there, which I'm sure you'll take care of that since it's on personal property. Because you will have to probably dig your area out just a little bit to get to the county ditch. Because there's a little grove of trees there in the southeast corners you're well aware of.
Well, I wish Wayne had been here today so he could answer some of the questions. Like up there, your landfill, you've got enough pipes that comes out of the landfill that you get the water off of the landfill, you rock the ditches there, and it goes down through the pasture there. Walk that pasture down to 11th Road, and you'll see how it's washed the stream bed out.
I know Jesse and Tom probably are not aware of all the layout out there, but, Tom, Bob, and I are pretty well aware of it. So hopefully, if that utility line gets moved, and we get that ditch cleaned out, that should take care of everything from your property line all the way south to the river. And all those cross pipes that are crossing that road now, those will no longer be there. They won't cross none of that water is gonna cross into that east ditch, which is the west side of Matthias Lake. Hopefully, we can get the attention of the Kansas Water Resources Board and Kenny Nelson and get the water moving out of the southeast part of the Matthias Lake like it did 20 years ago. I'm not exactly sure when that was filled in.
Do you think you'll ever get that bank on the west side of Matthias Lake stabilized enough to hold the water in there, keep it from coming out? It's seeping out through there right now.
It's seeping out through the southwest corner. I think if that ditch is moved back to the elevation it was 20 years ago, going out the southeast corner, the southeast corner or southwest corner won't be an issue. That's an assumption. That's an assumption. But I know the working process is to get Matthias Lake back out the southeast corner. And Wayne will tell you that. And he probably has, because he mentioned that here a couple months ago. But we may have to get the Kansas Water Resources Board involved in it. Like you said, it's a very clear statute. They told me about that when I was up there, and you'd already told me.
How many county engineers you think looked at that place out there, Matthias's drainage?
I didn't hear the first part of your question.
How many county engineers have been hired and have looked at that?
I have no idea.
6.
Yeah, I have no idea.
And they all wrote what should be done. Of course, Callahan, he didn't get a chance to write what should be done there. He ended up in a pen,
Okay, I'm unaware.
Yeah.
I'm unaware of some stuff. I
Well-
understand where you're coming from, and I think all the commission does too. We fully respect your position. fully respect that it needs to be done, and it is in the works. Maybe not as quick as you'd like to see, or as quick as I'd like to see. But they've done a huge amount of drainage and ditching for approximately 2 miles on further south, which will allow your property to drain once we get it opened up to your driveway.
Okay, in
So
other
do
words,
appreciate you.
you're telling me that the next time we have to plant crops, that'll be open.
By next spring, I'm totally confident that it will be open. That ditch from your driveway south.
Well, I sure appreciate your guys' time. And Tim and Jesse, I hope you don't understand probably all of this, what's going on, but I think both of you are you a farmer, Jesse?
My family has, yeah,
Yeah.
I have farmed, yes.
I grew up on a row crop farm
We
down
know
in the
what's going on.
River bottom. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I know Tim has, Jesse, I don't know, they've both been out and observed it since they became commissioners. So we're well aware of the situation.
We wanted to see where that $200 and some thousand has been spent.
Yeah.
Of course,
Well,
I'm paying taxes on all of this water that the county's backing in on me. I'm paying taxes on that water.
So are we.
Huh?
So are we.
Mhm.
So are we. So is everyone else paying taxes on that,
On my property?
on the water.
On the water. County spent over $200,000 out there so far. That's just since they started doing the ditch work. So that's taxpayer money that's being spent out there already.
I think if you drive south of your driveway, you will see there's 2 underground pedestals for telephone along that west ditch.
Huh?
I said, I think if you drive south of your driveway, you will see 2 pedestals for underground utilities on that west ditch. I drove it the other day myself too. Yeah.
I'll visit with Wayne this afternoon. I'll visit with Wayne and see if he's got a timetable for it to be moved back.
Well, you know.
I will respond and get back.
You know, Bob, remember you said if the Rogrons hadn't tried to fight that road going straight west of that corner there, remember?
I don't think I ever made that comment, but
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't work because they found out that if they run that river from the lake 3/4 banks full, it'd drain water, backwater clear all over that corner down there. And you'd have a real problem. I profiled that a long time ago and I knew what. I got 3 tiles on the north end of my bayou there west of the house that goes to the river, and on the south end, I got 2 tile pipes trying to keep the water in the river.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Thanks
appreciate
for
your time.
coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Have a good day. Thank you, Carl.
Just wanted to get the commission an update on the Wolf Creek exercises for this year. Kansas Department of Emergency Management sent an appeal to FEMA not to do the exercise this year because of the response to COVID. And on May 24th, FEMA responded that they've waived that all off-site response agencies do not have to do the full-scale exercise this year. Now, we don't have, they've given us a deadline to conduct the exercise until November 2022. But we're still going to participate with Wolf Creek on August 18th here, as an exercise, so we can make sure in exercise that people aren't planning to keep everybody keeping all this kind of review.
On August 18th, Carl?
Yes. And also, as part of that, Wolf Creek's waiting on a response from NRC as far as meeting all the requirements. We may have to participate within one more exercise this fall, but we won't know until the NRC responds to Wolf Creek as far as what those days may be. We'll still do our work with our hospitals as far as some exercises within to make sure that they keep up their plans, keep their people up to date also. That'll be in September and October. I just wanted to provide an update. Any questions? Okay,
Thanks for that, Carl.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been set up for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We could take a break and call Wayne if you want.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You got his number?
Yeah.
Okay. He'll take a break, she'll get hold of Wayne, he come in a little early, and might have to cut Shirley off just short, so it won't be bad.
What's Wayne here for?
Actually,
I don't see Wayne on here.
It's
What is-
about an incident.
go ahead. Alright, I just got to think we could have walked outside and looked at that. Okay, we'll take a break.
Maybe it's just my husband.
Did I miss one?
Yeah, I was just.
And I'll give you this one too, so I thought when we tried the original one, because I took that rates, I thought he was gonna hold, but then when I asked me where it was, I thought from.
Okay,
Sure, try to sign this.
all right, thank you.
Andrew, are you starting a brand new budget book
I
like
am.
we've had before?
And they're, as they're coming in, I've got all the books lined up in the back there, so I'm filling them in as.
Okay, so you're doing that all?
Yeah. Still quite a few to come in.
I'm sorry?
There are still quite a few to come in,
Oh, I'm sure.
several at the last minute, Friday, but yeah, still quite a few yet.
I say any budget and that's adding meetings
Within the past couple of days?
today.
Oh, good, okay, that's fine. Oh, thanks, Tony.
What time is it, Tom?
I have 9:52.
The face of my phone busted the other day when it fell on the
Oh,
concrete,
no.
so they're sending it off so I can get a new plate on it. I'll visit with Wayne State today sometime, if he's available. And get hopefully a clarification on when that line's gonna be moved back.
I'm pretty sure there's two pedestals.
I know there's one, I was out there this morning, but,
I drove it a couple of times, just,
look, that project can be finished up, probably take 2 weeks, there's a lot of dirt to be moved. Because there's probably 3/4 mile that needs to be moved,
but what he's saying, any farmer, they establish a right of way where you can farm it, they will, or boundary on it, if you will, and they go beyond that. What's the repercussions of that, evidently
but
not.
that's a way, and that is something this county needs to address. Because in Nelson, but they're not the only farmer that does it.
I see a lot of people that farm right up, right up to the edge.
Legally, they wouldn't have permission to move those steel posts. I mean, that, if the steel posts are put there for a purpose, they should have never been pulled. I can show you farmers that are sitting in the legal area that they farm as much as they can. Probably gain 2 rows of crop. Probably gain half of 1% of what their field is. But that's just a waste of money.
Yeah, no,
That,
never thought much about it until I was an engineer the other day, and I got paying attention, it's like, you can drive anywhere in this county and see it.
we'll see that wheat, dig that ditch now, we're gonna take out 10 feet of that wheat field. Of course, it was planted before we bought the real estate. But see, they've got corn planted south of wheat. We're gonna take out 2 rows of that new corn, even though the property belongs to the county. I don't know. I need to talk to Wayne about the size draining out the southeast corner.
Well, I know we called to see if the
Because-
township board could come in and they never did it. so.
No, and I've talked to Jim, but of course, draining out the southeast corner, it may have to get low enough where that ditch going south may have to be, it may have to be opened up to get that elevation back to like it was 20 years ago. I know exactly, and I don't know everything, but I know exactly what Frosty's talking about.
I do too. I mean, of course, that's been an issue after every.
You know, 20 years ago, we drove around that field, around this section to get into the north 20 acres. And when it was dry enough, they farmed across it. I guess I can't blame them for maybe doing that. But Frosty said to finish that up, he had a bulldozer and added more to it. So they could farm across it for sure, on any given year. But that was totally illegal.
Come back bigger every year.
Correct.
So I'll visit with Wayne, see where they're at on getting that line moved, and I'll talk to him. We may have to have Kansas Water Resource Board to come in. I was in 3 different offices up there 2 years ago, maybe, it's probably been 2 years now. And it's real clear. I hope it ain't. Now, I don't think it's grandfathered in.
Yeah, there you go.
No, no.
He knows what's right and what's wrong.
He's right on the treatment of water.
He got no idea.
Didn't know that, no.
Oh.
I thought, thank God I didn't know that.
Oh.
No wonder you wanted more. Now, that makes all sense. Looking at big horses now.
On time, it's decent farming, flood signing in, about once every 4 or 5 years, we have it dry. That's what we make money.
Exactly.
And that's precious water.
Mark, you have a busy week last week?
Strong bit.
Strong, yeah, strong.
Maybe we have that trucking truck there.
I was so sick of trucks by Friday, I couldn't carry them down, got the tornado and blew to the next country, I didn't care.
I was in the middle of that tornado. From our house, it hit my house, it looked like it was in the middle of a hurricane. Garnett got it bad, I went down and helped my kids clean up, their yard, and then,
Not too many people showed up.
And everything went smoothly and on time. And
Yes. My driveway fence on both sides, my driveway fence looked like snowman.
So where they all blew it in.
Caught into the fences. I didn't know where you're at. Quite a match, you know, you got hard wire up or whatever. Yeah. Hard wire. Bill.
Andrew, I think one of Eric's trying to get hold of you.
oh, in the upstairs office?
I don't know, they called our office, so I don't know. I just, the girl said that one of them was trying to get hold of you, so I think somebody tried to send it to the phone or something. I don't know.
Okay, I gave all the girls in the office my number
Yeah.
just for that reason, but yeah, I haven't gotten anything.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Well,
Is there a specific person you talk to at Modern Air or just anybody when I call there?
I would just call over and give them your name and phone number so that you could get in contact for Coffee County.
Okay.
We are back. I guess Wayne. Yeah, we got time.
Okay, thank you. Good morning.
Morning, Bill. Morning.
This was my bye week, but we did have an accident here last week, so I needed to bring that up and provide that to the commission. So. And this should be construction zone as well.
Wayne, is anyone hurt?
Well, the people in the private vehicle, I understand that they went in to check basically themselves out. I don't know the degree.
Okay.
But our employee, I don't believe, had any injuries. So. There will be as you get the memo, there will be a sheriff's report on that, as the sheriff responded to the the discussion point was, it involved our mowing tractor and mower. The location is 19th and Trefoil. Private vehicle came in contact with the mower, or the tractor at that point, but as I say, sheriff's office working up the accident report. Angie was notified, and I'm sure she had contacted the insurance.
Yes.
And also the employee was drug tested. So as per policy, I'm reporting the accident. Then what I'd like to do is, I can discuss construction zone, but then I have another location, but ultimately too would be to ask to go into executive session for 10 minutes for non-elected personnel to discuss employee performance.
With
The commission and myself, and at that point, I think we're fine.
Anyway,
This way,
I advise Wade, he's always welcome, we can ask him,
let's see if we can,
I spoke to him briefly this morning. He saw no need.
okay.
so. Okay.
So we need a motion.
I'll move.
Jesse's moved,
I'll second.
and seconded. We'll go in at 10:07 for how long again? I'm sorry.
Just 10 minutes, I believe. Yeah. We can get a lot of questions.
All right. So,
Need to vote, need to vote.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Minutes up.
This would be the other discussion.
Hello, Mike. Hello. That was a good one. Okay, how about you? All right. Another day in paradise. Give it to me. We're supposed to be back in the closed session in about 4 minutes.
Hey, we got the news.
You never know when I'll pop in, do ya?
Oh, this has gotta be west of New Strong. That's gotta be west of New Strong.
Mm-hmm.
Is this, 16th Road?
Hello?
Must be.
Good. I see the library's here, but if there's one thing I'd like to bring up, unless you have any questions on construction zone. This was the damage, this is what we call the Lake Road.
Yep.
Okay, so this is the John Redmond, as basically the backwaters overflow. That it could be basically flooded for a couple weeks at a given time. If you recall back, several years back, we had done a tremendous amount of work along the embankment of it, as far as shoring up, armoring the embankment. There was erosion issues at that point. The pavement seemed to last up to this point. Now the pavement's starting to fail. This is also a section of asphalt that we have an overlay on this year. And so the point I want to bring up is we're going to have the asphalt contractor go in and lay through, but it's really going to be for patching only on this particular section. This will not be a permanent fix. What you're going to find here is this asphalt is going to continue to break up during the summer, and it's going to have to all come out. So I'm going to be coming back in a couple of weeks and then ask for a motion for a project on this one. And our initial thought on this is just some discussion, some preliminary, and I'm going to see how much it's going to cost to actually firm it up. But initially would be to not replace it with asphalt, but replace it with concrete. This is an area that floods every year. And so I'm going to say, if we're going to spend some money onto it, then let's spend some money that's going to basically be more permanent.
Is there any outside funding for a project like this?
I have not looked at this
Or is the
point.
Corps of Engineers, the Blake that's doing it?
Yeah, it is the core. I have not looked for any outside funding at this point. There could be, but I'd also say too that as this breaks up during the summer more, we're going to have to be looking at a fall project.
Do we even want to go in and try to patch it? Why don't we just go with the fixing the project of it instead of spending money trying to patch it and then come in and tear out what we just put in?
Well, the reference for patching would be to make it safe. I mean, it's a minimum amount.
Close the road. I mean, it's closed now. You know, if the water stays up, it can be closed as long as the water is up too.
At this point, the recommendation would not be to keep it closed, as this goes back to Reamer's point.
True, but we do have a nice road that gets them to Reamer's Point. It just is, they have to go down to 17th Road, and it gets them to Reamer's Point. I just don't, and this is in my district, I guess. I personally don't feel like that we should put some money into it, knowing that we're gonna tear it out and do something different.
I would like an opportunity to come back and let you know what our estimated cost would be as far as patch repairs, and then I would like to have that discussion. And then if that would be something that you'd like to do, would be to keep it closed versus the cost, and weigh the information. I would say that would be the approach. I'd like to come back in a couple of weeks.
That's fair enough.
Okay.
How much, the new route, or the different route, how much further is it for the people to drive?
I believe you're gonna go at least a mile north.
A mile and a half, about what it must do.
Yeah.
You have to go down,
Then you
this
go-
is 16th Road, you go down to 17th and go in, and you come back about a half mile.
Yeah,
What's the
which is like
elevation?
all the ways.
I think we need to leave it closed.
What's the elevation on this? Could a person build this road up?
That
To
water
where it
is
wouldn't
pretty
ever
high
flood?
in there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep, no, go ahead.
I've seen it 10, 15 feet over the top of that roof.
It's been over,
Easy.
it's been over.
Question, did the water, the force of the
Well, you
water
can
did
see-
a lot of this or
You can
not?
see the
It's
the
just
flood
floating.
back in the back.
And just floating, all right.
Well, then the wing comes up, and if it's the right elevation, it weighs it
So
down,
you couldn't build it up.
just swap that stuff right on back. I was.
unless you bridged it. That'd be
That's
the only
exactly
thing.
right.
Put a long span.
And we kind of see some of that too.
Yeah, when it comes up in waves, hit that just right elevation, that's why it's all flopped on.
See, that's what I didn't know. I thought maybe the water moving that quick, but no.
No. Quite often, the water actually, yeah, you're looking at that picture, goes to your left, down toward the lake, not,
To the right.
yeah.
All right.
Am I correct on that one?
Yes.
Yeah. I thought it was
There
a
was-
right.
Yeah, you are.
I was looking at it wrong.
For that
I was
asphalt to
thinking
be
the
on
force of the
the
water.
upper end, north side, if you will, like they said, in waves are getting it, going back over there.
Let me come back with a cost, and then we can look at options.
All right.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. The biggest one is we do have that road closure on Quail, between 11th and 12th. That's going on this week, started today. Hopefully we'll be done in a week. So that's what we're striving for. Dust control was put down here last week, so we have that. But it just turned off the spigot, so now it's extremely dry. So,
And hot.
Wayne, I was gonna look at this afternoon or tomorrow. Russell Rover was in here this morning talking about, you have a time frame on when the utility is gonna be moved on that property south of his driveway?
as far as the utilities, I don't have an update report on that one.
That's,
But as far as the work, we're trying within the next 30 days to have the excavation complete.
because
Those
he's
fine
wanted
pipes
us,
removed.
yeah, he'd like to have a time frame on when we're gonna get to his driveway.
Uh-huh.
That's almost 3/4 of a mile of ditching is still gonna be done, but some of that can't be done until that utility line's moved back, is that correct?
I believe so, but I'd have to get a report back on the
Okay,
utilities.
I told him I'd try to get an answer and follow up.
The biggest, and I'll give you a call back on that one, Don.
Okay,
As
just
far as
give me
utilities.
a call back, because I told him I'd touch base with him and give him an update.
The biggest one is removing those 5 pipes that allows the water to go back and forth.
And he didn't realize those pipes are gonna be closed off or removed.
Yeah, we're gonna remove those 5,
And I said that my thought was that was the plan, so,
yes.
so.
There's an underground phone line on the west side ditch too, correct? It's gotta be moved.
I know the power poles, I'd have to double check.
Power
Power
poles,
pole's already been
power
moved.
poles are moved.
Okay, so right
They
now,
moved
it's the phone.
section. They were
I
moved
just seen
6
some
months.
telephone pedestals sitting out there where those, they're in front of the poles, if you will.
Let me get an update on that one instead of
Like,
guessing
and give me a holler if you don't mind.
and let you know on that one. So,
I think the power poles was moved last October, November. They've been several months.
okay, I think he's gonna see once we take those pipes out, he's gonna see the benefit onto it.
Yeah.
Considerable benefit. So, okay,
Thanks, Wayne.
all right, thank you.
Good morning, Shirley.
Good morning. You ready for me?
Whenever you are.
Awesome.
Good morning, Shirley.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, I brought coffees. Hi, I'm Shirley.
I'm Tim Johnson.
It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I am Shirley Ward. I'm with the museum. Buffalo Bob, it's nice to meet you. Thank you. All right, so I've handed you guys out 2 different things. Normally I'll go through at the very beginning and kind of do highlights about what we've done. So my highlight is we survived COVID, so yay for us. Being in the tourism section, it was even more stressful and anxiety ridden because that was what our main draw is, obviously, is people coming in. Some of the things that we kind of did to offset not being able to be opened was we created some YouTube videos that talked about preservation. We also had our children, we called them museum spawns, talk about history. If you haven't seen them, please do. One of them is my son, and we put it with comedy music because not everything is factual, but very hilarious for an 8-year-old, talking about dinosaurs in Burlington. We have had more genealogical requests by phone and through email. And one of the main things that I really would like to point out, you always want to look at the positive when something negative comes up. And one of the positive things that came up with this time period that we weren't able to be open to the public and very limited afterwards was that we were able to focus our time on our inventory and our database, which is a very huge thing. So many years ago, we had gotten a Past Perfect database in which we would put all of our inventory on along with the values of our the item. This was actually given to our insurances to actually help with our fine line or fine arts coverage. Because we're standing from the 80s until now, it's been kind of an interesting process trying to put some of the older donations onto our database. So we were able to kind of focus in on that, and there was quite a few of the artifacts that had zero value. And so we were able to kind of focus on getting actual values within the zero categories, as well as updating our prices. The way our insurance works, because it's for a museum and fine arts, they actually take it instead of, say like if you would have a stapler, okay? Most insurances will give you the value of a regular stapler. But since we have antiques, they're giving it to what we have put down for our value. So if I have a stapler that's $50, that's what they're going to honor is that $50. So it's very important that we get updated prices for our inventory. The second sheet that I've given you besides that, I kind of wanted to show you what we had given not only our insurance, but also the auditor. Because the auditor has been using this recently as well when they go through for our audit. So right now within our past market values, it kind of gives you a breakdown within our 4 categories and the total that we have now. This past year, we have actually increased that amount by about $500,000 for our contents. That's probably going to be the closest that we have ever been to what we actually do have within the museum for the contents related. It's still going to change a little bit because we still have 2 more catalogs to actually update as far as values, but I don't believe that it's going to be a huge amount of difference. One other thing that is not listed when you go to that second page, I wanted to show you another thing that shows you the 2020 breakdown of what we have been given. So this will kind of show you that within 1 year, normally we will average around 30 to 40,000 as far as donations are concerned. The interesting things is if you go down to the very bottom, you're going to see things that have Glenn Kaufman items and military things, a lot of paperwork. Those things are actually not only take the longest to inventory because it's page by page, but it's actually going to be the ones that are actually going to bring the most value because each page is going to be listed as $10 to $20. There is one line, let me see where it is at, 2020.9. We have Mammoth. I had mentioned this last year. That has not been assessed because I have not taken them out of the boxes yet. So the professor from Oklahoma will be coming down within the next month and helping put the display together. And at that point, Aaron and I will be able to do inventory of each bone. So we are expecting, the museum is expecting to have another price hike in insurance come next year, just for the fact that we've got probably about a 90% Mammoth, which is crazy awesome that we have. The insurance itself is which kind of want me to bring to the point. The insurance itself, because we did have that amount that was added to it, our insurance jumped 26%. And so we're expecting to have another additional like that come next year as well. When I had started out with the budget, I'm going to have to admit that I had tried to get it so that we were asking for a little bit of a lower amount of a percentage for an increase. I don't like big percentages. I don't think that's really quite necessary. And I did do quite a bit trying to take that out of our contractual. Unfortunately, when we got that 26% increase in insurance, we had to adjust it yet again to kind of put that back in. What you'll notice that the percentage increase is actually, it basically all boils down to that I had tried to put in for part-time help for next year. And that's really where the majority of that percentage comes from. Because that would be about $14,000 for next year to hire a part-time person to help with our inventory. We're also wanting to do more scanning and hopefully get things that are going to be online so that we can bring in that online crowd due to what we've noticed with the COVID.
So your personnel services projected to be up 18, but 14 now is for the new part-time.
Yes, that's correct. And that does not, since it's part-time, it does not include benefits like CAPERS or Blue Cross Blue Shield. So it's,
Part-time wouldn't be getting.
but that is where that amount comes from, is for a part-time person. Everything else, like I said, is just a slight increase, if you will. The commodities is an increase, and that is from staff professional. When you're trying to budget ahead, even 6 months within the pandemic, it's kind of hard. But that staff professional is what we would do if we were to go to a conference, the Kansas Museum Association conference. Right now, it's still up in the air if that's going to be online or in person. So that's a big question mark, and I wish I could answer that one, if that's actually going to be held or not.
On your capital outlay, Shirley, you got projected roof repair $9,000 every year.
Yes, it is.
HVAC repair $17,500 every year.
Yes.
Chances are it won't happen every year, but you're just holding back some funding.
Yeah, what we're
You're
doing.
sitting on and holding back some funding at what point it
Yes,
will
that's
happen.
correct. With the HVAC, when we had found out we had such a problem, we had to do a partial upgrade, and the commissioners helped us out quite a bit with it, but it was still about $100,000 for each party. And this way, we're projecting that when we do need that upgrade, we aren't going to have to come back and ask for that exorbitant amount.
Okay.
Yeah, so
you're
everything
setting
that's,
funds aside.
oh yeah, and these actually go into a special fund. So, and our auditor looks through that and everything. So anything that's within a capital expenditure immediately goes into our special funds, which then have to go through the proper channels as far as the board approval, things like that to withdraw it. I was hoping to have some of the last bit of the roof repair done this year because of the inflation. And luckily, we are not in dire need, but getting close to. I believe that we're going to be able to hold off for about another year or so for that repair.
So you had the big repair last year.
A few years
So
ago.
maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah, we had done certain galleries per year.
Payment out front, and that worked out well, so.
It really did. And the only thing we have now, we have the Cochrane addition to do and the church and school really. And then of course, a little bit of patchwork here and there next to the windows. But like I said, the gallery itself and the Cochrane is holding up just fine. So we can get by another year or two until the prices come back down. We were able to have our first 4 groups come in this year. We had our first graders come back. That was lovely to see. And we also had the Kansas Campers Association come in. There's about 50 of them. We were able to obviously maintain social distancing, and they enjoyed our air conditioner. And they were very complimentary of not only our town, but also the museum. So that was really nice to hear.
How do you continue to find space for new items that come in?
You know, I am a military brat. It's amazing how well I can find places to put things.
At what point are you gonna have to add on?
Oh, we should have added on a long time ago. That is definitely something that we would love to do. And we do have a little bit of space, but that's something that obviously is gonna cost quite a bit of money, especially to tie into our HVAC. So I'm not sure exactly how soon that will happen. We aren't really taking anything big anymore or something that we have a lot of. So we are being a little bit more choosy, except for photographs and things that are documents. Those we welcome immediately.
But you have storerooms full of stuff too, where you
I do.
trade out, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I'm routinely going through and trying to find more spaces and things like that. But eventually, yes, we will be looking into hopefully adding on a little bit. That would be exciting.
Just a question. I know some museums, I know you don't like to get rid of anything. I'm trying to know you, but I know some museums, when they have 4 or 5 things, they go and they will actually have an auction and remove some of those items that people have donated. But the point of the museum is to still show history and so forth. And I guess my question would be is it necessary to have 4 or 5 of the exact same items?
Depending. And honestly, it really is depending. If you have something that, you know, is like documents, of course you want all of them. If you have an item per se, and you have the same manufacturer at the same date, one is in better condition, then definitely would choose that one. It just really depends on if, there's different types of manufacturers and eras that they were made out of. We are currently, if you go to that one list, I guess I never had, don't worry about that, never mind. We have deaccessioned a few things last year. When we deaccession something, it goes in front of the board and then they vote for it. And then it goes back hopefully to the owner itself. So we did deaccession a few things. We are still going through some of the old paperwork and trying to find things that are on loan. Those things need to be given back to the original person as well. Once we do that, some of that, the value of the contents will go down as well. We do have quite a few things as far as various magazines and things like that, that probably about maybe 3 years ago, the board had went through in deaccession. So we are doing that.
Well, I mean, it's just like you don't need two apple peelers, the exact same brand, the exact same model and all that.
That's right. No,
So
you don't.
when you do that, do you go back to the donor
Yes.
and say, do you want this back, or we would like to maybe have an auction and put the money elsewhere in the museum?
And that's exactly what the protocol is to process the donor. And that comes into a really big issue too, because when you're talking about things that were donated in the 80s and 90s, the paperwork was not the greatest. And so I can't, in good faith, put something up for auction that I can't 100% identify with the donor. And so that's another issue that we have from the older paperwork.
If a family or individuals donate items to you, have you got the right to auction them all? Do they sign a release on that?
They sign a release, yes, to the museum. And then it basically goes into the museum protocol and what the board has set forth to do.
Says to me they ought to have the opportunity to sign a release or either that or get them back.
Once they sign it, then it's the museum's
Your
thing. And it's kind of more out of, goodwill that we're offering it back to them first. Before we do anything else with it. I have started asking if there could be things that when they donated, it could be so that the children could touch or to use. Before it was, you couldn't use it, it couldn't be a working artifact. So that's why we couldn't take things out of the museum. But with me asking them if it's something that could be used as a working artifact, now we're able to do something like that.
I say it every year, probably. I have, and every year I have for a long time, actually, kind of since you've taken over, because I know how the museum was before. I know how it was when we came in with budgets before. And I think you do an excellent, and your staff do an excellent job out to the museum. And I really appreciate the way you bring the budget in. It gives us information, and to me, it's a lot more understanding why you need the extra money if you need it, instead of, we want this, you should give it to us. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's broken down more than any other budget we get, so.
Yeah, very, very well put together.
There's a lot of information there.
Any other questions? All right, well then I will go, and I hope to see you guys in the museum sometime.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We got 140,000, this year 158. About what I meant.
I guess if you guys are ready, we probably ought to look at the basement wall over here and kind of show you what I met with Burnham Basements and Andrea, whatever day it was, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, somewhere in there. And just kind of show you what he's thinking and what I'm thinking, so.
Well, I got a couple concerns about that. Is this the same company that came in and fixed it before?
it is, but he is, I can tell you that they're like drip caps, I call them, off the bricks down in the window wells. He agrees they're not attached, probably how they should be. He's gonna remedy that. Basically, all his inspections are gonna be at his own cost. But part of what the issue is that I think is that there's not very positive drainage on the north side of the building, or even on the east side, northeast corner and the north side. Not very positive drainage for everything to even try and get away from there.
I thought they came in, but a few years ago, they put French drains in there. I thought that was put in along all there. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. I know that out front, they put French drains in to get rid of some of that stuff.
He had discussed several items that they had done. I mean, it just sounds like it's been kind of an ongoing issue, but.
Well, I guess my concern is they were in here and they did it before, and he agrees it wasn't done right. Do we need to be working with the same people, or do we need to be looking around, see if there's someone else?
There are other companies.
That's what I'm thinking is, do we, how many times are we going to have the same person do them over and over again? That's kind of where I'm at with it. And as far as walking around looking at it, I've seen it all, and I'm not an expert on it, and I don't think any of us in here are an expert on that, these walls, as far as figuring that out, but the people we hire are supposed to be. So I think we need to hire someone and just let them do it, whatever it is, but.
Well, again, he's willing to come back on his own dime and fix those drip cap issues.
At no
And I
expense.
guess if you don't wanna walk around, don't walk around.
Fix the roof caps at no expense, or?
No expense.
Well, I would think that if he realizes they're wrong, that he would come back and fix them at no expense.
Not really saying that that's what is the issue. I mean, I don't know how else to say it other than kind of like a leak on your roof at your house. It's coming in at the bathroom, but it started over in the kitchen. You don't know.
Very hard to.
It's the same thing.
Well, I know the northeast corner of the building leaks very severe. I've seen it coming in through the electrical boxes and everything else. So I've seen the results of it. It's just, and maybe again, if he's willing to come back in and do this at no expense, maybe, because we paid him once to do it, maybe I'm okay that he come back and take a shot at it. Hopefully he can fix it. If he doesn't, then I would say that we probably need to be looking.
He's coming back on his own time and money to address any issues that he can find or not find.
And I'm okay with that, because to me, that's kind of warranty work that you guarantee.
If you look on the east side corner, there are concrete window wells, for lack of better terminology, that it attaches to the existing foundation. What you got is you got a concrete wall that comes up so far, and it starts concrete block, which you might know anything about construction, which is below ground level, leaves room if that grout fails for water to travel through.
Exactly.
So that drip cap is down there as well. I do agree that he does agree that he's excavated out and put in worse rock for that water to drain down to the French drain. If you're talking French drain that we're talking about. But if you go around on the north side, there is no concrete window, there is no window well, period. It's just some stones laid on the ground for landscape purposes and worse rock from ground level down to that French drain as well. But I think, my personal opinion, that's where you might want some window wells and create some positive drainage away from the building to help remedy the situation. I mean, you can put all the membrane and caulking and patch all you want, but you know as well as I do, if it's not running away from the building, it's
Gonna sit there.
just gonna sit there. That's what they're doing. You can walk out there, we were out there gosh, what day was it? I don't remember. It rained, I know that.
I want to say maybe it was Thursday.
And it hadn't rained in a while, and that entire area on the north side was wet. I mean, you can stand there and you can see where it all drains back to the building.
Where's the gutters come down at? Are the gutters plumbed out?
One of
They,
one of them's in that corner, I think.
but see, it's kind of ironic with all these basement windows, like over there in the ag office, they don't have any issues. But if you stand back and look, they've got positive, decent drainage away from the building. You walk over this corner and they don't. They don't. It's not.
So we need to
Just
raise,
plumb flat.
we need to raise this corner and push it towards the street?
I would say that the only way to accomplish that's, window well and kind of
I say
re-landscape.
we can't really raise it because it's almost to the top level now.
Well, that's why I say again, a window well,
The window wouldn't have to, almost have to, because, and then you're coming up.
you
The
can
ground
take,
level's up higher than,
you can probably take some of that dirt out, but when you go to shooting elevations along that sidewalk along the north side, there's one particular area that's just sunk. I mean,
well, I have no problem if he wants to come back in and see what he thinks might be the remedy. And if he has, you know, he does the remedy if that works. And if he has some other suggestions, I'm willing to listen to him. But I don't really need to walk around because I've seen the project and I've seen the results of it after it's rained. And I can go look at it, but it doesn't do anything, so.
well,
But if other people want to see it,
walking,
if
so we
other
all,
people do want to see it, that's fine.
only suggested walking so that we're all on the same page. If you don't want it, that's fine with me, I guess.
You know, an issue with Bill, I think we all need to take a look. I'm unaware.
I'll go look at it.
All right.
I don't like the idea of concrete blocks laying in there.
Well, they're like decorative stones, if you will, like landscape stones. They're not really doing anything. They're just kind of there, so to speak.
6 different ideas is better than one.
But again, I suggested the gentleman maybe get a price on some window wells, and we did measure them, and they would have to be 8 foot in width, and I checked with one of my suppliers, and that doesn't exist where I normally get my items. Now, he may have another avenue, and may be able to find something that's sort of 8 foot overall. I checked with my supplier, like I said, it doesn't exist.
Do we want to go out and look at it now?
Yeah, that's on a time slot.
I do have one thing. Wayne messaged back to say an update on the utilities. The utilities have been moved at Matthias Lake, including the telephone went aerial on the poles, and at this point, they're only limited by time, equipment, employees, and the weather.
Okay. You get that?
No, I did not, but I'll talk to her later.
Okay.
Your voice doesn't carry good, now. I just can't pick you up, Andrew.
Basically, all the utilities have been moved out there.
How come the pedestal's still out in the road?
Well, evidently they switched them.
They don't show that they've been moved.
Well, evidently they switched those lines to the poles. Is what that just read, correct?
Well, that could be, I guess I didn't look up.
Yeah, I didn't either, but again, I just saw the pedestal, so everything's been moved, and now he's talking about time, weather.
Well, he said 30 days stay if the weather's right.
Yeah.
I'll get ahold of Frosty. I'll get ahold of Frosty.
But again, if you guys wanna look at it, just so you know what I'm talking about, that's the only reason I suggested a walk.
I'll do
Do we need to recess or?
it. No.
No.
We still need,
We're still conducting.
county business.
The water running through the electrical this way.
Yeah, I've heard all the stories, and that's why I went down and talked to Yag, and they're not having any problems. And like I said, when you stand out there and look.
Yeah, you too.
Wait all of them.
So I guess after that walkthrough, we're gonna let the Burnham Basements come back and do what they agreed to do on their own dime. And if you've got some window wells we can add, and then basically, whether we talk to Barb or have Andrea call a tree trimmer, is that number one?
Yeah.
And Andrea, be her.
And you said, what was the name of the company? Will, for the trees?
Wilderness.
Will.
I don't know if there's anybody in Burlington or not.
I don't, we probably ought to call a few tree trimmers and get bids, actually. I don't think there's any directly in Burlington. I do know there's some in Coffee County, there's Bradley and.
Check them.
I've done check trees all the way around the building, because there's some out there too, not just these everywhere.
Okay.
With everybody's permission, I'm gonna get hold of the city, see if they'll come grind those bumps in the sidewalk and we'll kind of see, roof inspection. Do you guys still want to do that?
I think we probably should.
Where we got water above the basement or above the ground line.
Yeah, see, I'm glad you went along because I didn't even think about looking up.
Did we get a new roof just a couple of years ago?
I don't know how old those water spots are, but definitely tile water spots.
Yeah.
Sometimes compensation too, I mean, you know. No, on a roof inspection, yes.
It ain't gonna hurt nothing.
I think we need to.
Do you know the company that did the actual roof?
I don't.
We'll find somebody
It'll
for
be in
that.
our files, but I don't know. off the
I think
top
we're
of
out
my
of the I'm not sure.
We gotta preserve the old building.
Agreed.
And I think that roof line should have had like a 20-year warranty on it or something. Anyway, the roof should have had a warranty.
So let's find out who they are, Denise, if you don't mind, in your file. And present that to Andrea so she can give them a call and maybe have them come down and just do a inspection as part of the 20-year warranty backup.
Yeah, I don't know if it's 20 years.
Certainly
Certainly
have
a warranty.
If they got a warranty, then yeah, we can have them come down and take a look.
They've got an obligation to come back to look.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add to that?
Just got all these budgets.
We gotta look at all those yet? Okay. Well, let's make sure we get our list at what we walk through, and that clock's about an hour and a half off.
Right. Well, I know there's needing to be another meeting people are needing to get to, so.
Oh, okay.
We can look at them another day.
I don't know how big, we got 10 days from the time it's being presented, I mean.
No, those budgets we got until
We'll
we decide to do something. Hospital's the only one that has a 10-day limit.
Okay, all right.
we'll spend a half a day here doing all the budgets once this book is filled back
Yeah,
up.
once they're put in the book, we usually.
Okay.
We have like 2 or 3 budget work sessions.
Oh, okay.
So,
It's probably, my suggestion is probably set tight till they get most of them in the book.
yeah, let's do that. Okay. So with that being said, roundtable, Wade. Now you're just pitching.
You can maybe pass on for me for just a minute.
Okay.
Come back to me. I need to request an executive session, but we'll get to that.
Denise?
Nothing.
Tim?
I would like to see us maybe take action next week on the 30x30 and the Freedom Frontier Heritage Area. I'm gonna have Wade working on a resolution for that. Christina Stoll wanted to come and speak, but she had a death in the family. So I'd like to have her, if she's able, come Monday and also try to pass the resolution.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Everybody steady up on that for the next week then.
Yeah.
I don't think I have anything.
I have
I don't have nothing necessary other than just to mention I won't be here next Monday.
Okay.
Fortunately, I've got a grandson that qualified for the Olympic trial, so I'm gonna be in order. Cool. He throws Friday in the preliminaries, and he is in the top 10 of the nation right now. If he qualifies, which he hopefully will. The finals are Monday, so my plans are to be in order next week.
Good, have fun.
Good luck with that.
Good luck.
We're looking forward
I'll bet.
to the opportunity.
I'll bet. I'll safe travels and,
We will.
I don't really have anything more I was wanting to discuss. We just did with the walkthrough and I appreciate everybody's input and attention to that. And, I've been handed a task and probably I haven't take it lightly, so. Andrea.
For mine, as far as the HVAC system and the programming for all that, Angie and I have been working together and she's been showing me a lot of how to use that program. So everyone who's been contacting her on the heat issues that they've been having, some of the rooms have been warm. So they're still contacting her, but then she's been getting with me and showing me what she would do and how she would make adjustments and who to contact in Modern Air to start having them contact me. And Hornet is the company who does the fire extinguisher maintenance in the courthouse. So I've asked them when they're gonna come this week, if they can also do the maintenance for recycling. The Select One had been doing them and they haven't. So they needed someone to come update theirs with a couple of new fire extinguishers as well. So Hornet will be going out to the recycling center and updating the maintenance on their extinguishers.
Awesome.
And I think that's it for now, just the transition of trying to get people used to contacting me. So far, when they contact Angie, we've been working through that and she gets a hold of me and showing me how the HVAC computer program works. That's about it for me.
While the fire extinguisher people are here, can we just have them do the landfill and the weed and basically the whole county?
We can't, Cinta is, when I asked Road and Bridge, Heather said Cinta does theirs and they were updated. Do you want me to start getting everybody on the same?
Well, I think it'd be good. I really think it'd be good if everyone was on the same page at the same time. If there's a problem, then we could do it.
There's not enough money there where you have to send it out for bid or anything.
Well, if it's just an inspection, I don't think it's much. It'd just be whenever some have to be replaced, we'd have to. And I don't know if that's going to be a great big expense at a ton of time.
Didn't want to get us into a predicament, I guess.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Nothing.
Finally,
Nothing.
anybody else on that issue? Okay. Anything else?
That is it for me.
Who does the window cleaning? I noticed when I walked in, it was, the windows on the east side are clean about as far as one individual can reach. But up above, it's dirty.
And the janitor.
Janitors do that.
I would
I didn't know
assume,
if somebody come through and did the
I would
window.
assume.
Just something I seen.
So I can check with Charlene because I used to see her in the evenings doing those in the lobby, so I can see if it's something that she can't do, who does that.
Right.
Anybody else have anything else?
Tom Johnson.
He's hid behind the pole. Is he part of your executive session?
So, the fence viewing, did that get talked about? Okay, so want to make sure that that was in line.
Yeah, there was a water issue too that we decided pretty much that would be out of our realm of responsibilities or cares, I should say, for lack of better terminology. But as far as alignment of the fence, that'd be a correct assumption. I mean, because there was water running over onto him, shorting out his fence. That's,
Yeah, the fence viewing has nothing to do with water, it has to do with the physical fence itself. So, and what duties and responsibilities fall under the Kansas fence law. So, water is not one of them that's in the statute. So I'll mention two quotes and then I'll request an executive session. One quote is, and it's kind of food for thought, if you chase two rabbits, you will not catch either one. And that's a Russian proverb, and sometimes I think I do it even myself, trying to do two different things, and you're not gonna get anything done if you're chasing two different goals. So, second one by Epictetus. Be selective about whom you take on as friends, colleagues, and neighbors. The world is full of agreeable and talented folk. The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. But remember that our moral influence is a two-way street, and we should thus make sure by our own thoughts, words, and deeds to be a positive influence on those we deal with. The real test of personal excellence lies in the attention we give to the often neglected small details of our conduct. Make it your business to draw out the best in others by being an exemplar yourself. I'm going to request a motion to recess into executive session for 20 minutes. Myself, the board, and the sheriff to discuss internal policy issues for matters deemed privileged under the attorney-client relationship exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act, KSA 754319B2.
I'll move. Mr. Moon,
All second?
Tim seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
We're going to 11:35.
Have the rest of the day. Oh, gee, man. Of course. We wrapped up.
It's saying connection is unstable. I mean, it's still an empty room. Maybe I don't. I know what it's thinking about. Go in there and sing, and I'll go up and check. Yeah, so for lunch, I have no one to be out well, yeah.
See which ones we don't have yet.
I have several upstairs that just aren't in there.
Yeah.
And there were several like right at the end of the day, so I was so glad that there were several at the end of the day, so I was so glad they didn't have to be in the books.
Right now, yeah. Go on a couple weeks before, right after the board, we can start doing some budget work sessions.
Okay.
So they'll have them available for them to look at them.
Right. And Modern Air, the lady that answered the phone, she was asking around. She put me on hold for a while. She couldn't figure out who tried to call. So I did tell her to, give her my number. She figures out who tried to call and what it was for to call, and I haven't heard anything back.
Okay. Jessica did tell me she transferred that call to your office phone.
Okay, then
That was after, I went back after a while later, so.
Okay.
But maybe I didn't leave a message. Then
Cool.
I just called Barb, she doesn't know, but.
Yeah, I haven't seen her today, so I'll see you.
Yeah.
Old farm, they're old and dying, and the way it's drying. Everybody better when it's nice.
Hey, we got Angie back.
And forgot that you were-
We are back.
Need 10 more minutes, same thing, same people, same exception.
So
I'll make the motion.
No one's moved. Tim seconded.
I'll second,
All in
sorry.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
You said 10 minutes?
Yes, sir.
We'll call it the 12 o'clock. Keep looking up at that clock. We're gonna-
We'll get that
Go ahead,
changed.
12, you said?
Yeah. Says 11:57 on my phone, but I guarantee you, as soon as I walk out the door, it'll be 11:58. And you have 2 minutes to get there.
Doesn't anticipate any action. I'm gonna try to catch the ending on.
All right, see ya.
We'll see if I can.
Yeah.
We'll see you all later.
Yes.
They gave me a substitute.
I can't even get in the stadium without. Oh, crap.
Monday through what?
$150 just to walk in the stadium, too.
Oh, my.
$150. I figured it might be 50, but I didn't figure it'd be 150.
Hey, we are back. We already did roundtable, but Denise was sitting there at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Now that you're here,
She did mention that you guys needed to know who did the roof, and it was growing some, so we did the replacement out there for
I'm
you.
for it. Okay. We'll call them.
Okay.
Get some sort of roof inspection.
And see if there's
We
something
ran
in
it
the
on, I think we got things started in 2009 or 10.
That long ago?
Because the HVAC.
I can understand.
Time flies, Bob, fun or not. Fun or not.
Yeah, might be a lot of projects.
Dang.
Well, in 3 years, my kids will say,
Still, we'll call them for.
7 to 8, what's wrong with you?
So, do you know, do we need to get bids for that, or just see if they can come do the
A
inspection?
roof inspection would be minimal.
So I would think they would want to come back and inspect their, they
They'll
probably had a warranty on it, didn't they?
Who?
The roof.
Might
Yeah.
ask
we don't
them.
have
If it's
one.
I would
under
think they would
warranty.
just want to come back and inspect it, make sure that things are working as they should have been. At a very, very minimal price, if anything.
Okay.
Anything else?
Then if we still continue to have problems, maybe we ought to get an independent inspector come in, because of course, somebody's gonna come in and inspect their own work, it's gonna be fine.
Being the roof, will it include the gutters, to make sure that they're not blocked or?
One would assume.
Well, I can tell you,
We want to throw that in the mix, I guess. if you will.
Andrea, Barb has a way to get on the roof because she's been on the roof before doing the light bulbs. You might have
It's on the
her,
map by the sheriff's office.
So, yeah, there's that.
you might have her go up, check, make sure that gutters are not
Okay.
plugged from the top anyway.
I had maple.
That might be a need. With those trees there.
Yeah,
That's all I have.
they just hear maple grew quite well.
Anybody, anything else they want to add?
I do have one little thing, just information
Okay.
for everyone. Brad actually found out from the extension office that for the fence viewing for the water issue, that's gonna be a USDA issue, so I'll get a hold of them and see if, That's-
kind of where I was.
so then, and just so that I'll pass that on when I call Ryan Yeho back,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
get that information and pass that on to him before the
Okay.
fence viewing.
Awesome.
And just on, as far as this, like talking about the road closure on this Lake Road, since that's in the fire district that I'm in, I almost never use that road anyway, just because it is, you never know when it's gonna be closed, so I always just think it could be closed, so I always go around anyway, even on a fire call, because by that time, if you've gone down there, it's closed, you go back around, you've taken time, so I know that if that was a consideration, if they were thinking of closing it, I go the other way anyway, just because it is always.
Underwater.
Mhm.
Something to take into consideration when we get the bid for patching back, I guess. Go from there. Anybody, anything else? Once, and twice. Adjourn at 12:14.
I'm gonna run upstairs first.